miles out west. Destination, the Tongue Lightship, moored on the treacherous sands off North Foreland, 7 miles north of Margate and 26 miles south of Felixstowe. As I speak to you now from her bridge, 4 men are waiting below decks. Men who are well used to waiting. These hands, playing cards, are the hands which hold the lives of many mariners as they pass through what are surely some of the most dangerous and certainly the busiest waters in the world. Their hands scarred by hard work, and yet they know more empty hours than most of us in today's clock-conscious, frantic world where minutes are money greedily hoarded. Their hands which have learned how to while away time. Time in confinement, self-imprisoned in an iron ship that has no means of propulsion, no destination, that is afloat for months on end, bound for nowhere. These are the hands of the men who man the Tongue Lightship, and at this moment they are on their way back to duty after shore leave. Cards are one way to kill time. Here is another. And here, in their dunnage, the kit that they bring with them are games of other sorts. Books, magazines, materials for model making, rug making, woodworking, painting, and more cards. We are nearing our destination. In just a few minutes, the card game must break up. Of the 36 lightships in England and Wales, all are maintained by Trinity House, and the Tongue is perhaps one of the most modern. Yet the job this strange craft does, and the way she does it, have changed little since Trinity House got its first charter from Henry VIII in the year 1514. It occurred to us that our journey tonight is highly appropriate, that in this, the last lookout program, for the time being, we should be concerned with the men and the ships who are Britain's first lookout. The first, as you approach our shores from the open seas, and the first to be officially recognized in British history. Incidentally, we've got some very up-to-date company tonight. We've got a helicopter of the Army Air Corps, piloted by Captain Mike Sharp. Now, he's carrying out something in the nature of an experiment. With him, he's got one of our radio cameras, and he's exploring the possibilities of electronic reconnaissance. Now, from time to time, if the pictures he gets are good, and there's one of them, we shall be using them in this program. And if we are successful, well, this will be the first time that television pictures have been sent from a helicopter and received on board a moving ship, and then transmitted from the ship to you at home.
Well, we're just getting very close now, Mr. Ridout. The boat all ready for lowering?
All ready, sir, except for a few small items left to go in now.
Right, thank you very much. Well, we're just getting close. I'm going into the wireless room to contact the Tongue. So if you'll take over. Steady she goes, Mr. Slimsballs, and slow ahead.
Slow ahead, very good, sir.
Well, that, of course, is the master of the ready, Captain Horsford, and as you no doubt heard, he's going into the radio room to call up the Tongue Lightship.
Tongue Light Vessel, ready calling. I receive me, please. Come in, over.
Hello, ready, Tongue replying. I see you loud and clear, sir. All attention, over.
Well, we shall be up to you in about 10 minutes, Mr. Williams. What side have you got, please? Over.
Hello, ready, Tongue. We've got a nice port lee, sir. A nice port lee. Over.
Right, have all your gear ready in the port gangway then. It will be just men and clothes, Mr. Williams. Just men and clothes. So over and out for the time being. Over.
Hello, ready, Tongue. Everything ready for the leave, sir. Listen out.
line practically heads the tide, Mr. Ridhouse, the wind on the starboard quarter. So I'll come up under our port quarter, drop the boat. You've got a nice lee there
Right,
on the port
sir.
side.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad at all.
Right. Go.
Very nautical, but slightly too technical, I'm afraid, for ready understanding by me at any rate. Could you explain just exactly what it is you're doing?
Well, if we say this is the lightship, the tide coming down like this.
Yes.
Oh, there. And the wind,
Oh, there. Yes.
the wind's on his starboard quarter.
Yes.
I intend to take the ready up like this, so as to give the motorboat a good lee on the starboard side, you see. He'll come up here, and he'll have quite a good lee on this port side. I have to come up in this direction for the wind to come up on our port quarter, you see, as we've got the starboard motorboat out.
There's more to it, in fact, than just coming alongside and stopping.
Oh, yes, quite, yes.
I wanted to ask you about something else, too. This whole business of the Trinity House. How did it all start?
Well, I'm rather getting into the ticklish position now, so I'd like you to meet my chief officer, Mr. Plimsoll, who I'm sure will give you all the necessary details.
Thank you very much, Captain.
Go.
Right, sir. Go ahead. Good evening, Geffery.
Good evening, Mr. Plimsoll. Now, I think it's fair to say, is it not, that almost hardly any large ships would be able to get into the port of London, or for that matter, any of our large river ports, were it not for the work of Trinity House.
No, that's quite true, Geoffrey. Without the buoys and other sea marks laid and maintained by Reading and other sister ships, it would be quite impossible for a large vessel to pass through the twisting channels into the Thames. Quite true, yes.
And how far back into history does Trinity House go?
Well, it goes back a very long way, Geoffrey. Actually, we can trace it right back to the days of King Alfred, when a group of sea captains formed this fraternity. And at the time of the Armada, they provided 30-sail ships, and the beacons for warning the citizens of the British Isles.
It still is a fraternity, too. You
Oh,
have
yes.
your elder brethren,
Yes,
don't
elder
you? Which I
brethren,
think is
yes,
wonderful
that's right.
service.
Oh, yes, wonderful, yes. Oh,
But
yes.
you're by no means out of date.
Oh,
you
no,
played a
we're-
wonderful part
yes.
in the last war.
Yes, we had a very hazardous time, you know, one dangerous, but we like to think that we laid the victory path for the flotillas proceeding to Sherlock by laying our buoys across the channel.
And that was quite a feat.
Oh, it was quite a fleet, the biggest in history, yes. Oh, yes, definitely.
Well, we seem to be getting rather near our destination.
Yes, we
I
are
suppose the
getting
captain
very
will be
handy now, so...
Going up on the bridge
Captain
shortly.
will be going on top, yes. Right, thank you, Geoffrey.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, right on, Mr. Plimsoll.
Very good,
Thanks
sir.
so much. I'll
Right,
take
sir.
over again now, so I'll go up on top.
Very good, sir.
Thank
Full
you.
stop, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Righto, lads, come on. Smarten it up now. Haven't got all night.
You're John Ridhouse,
Yes, that's me. In
official position
third officer.
third officer, and it's your job to get this boat over to the lightship.
Yes, third officer always goes crossing the boat.
I see you haven't just been lumped with this job for this particular day.
Oh, no. I'd like to think so, but unfortunately it's always my job.
Well, you've got a fairly flat sea this evening, I think. Not going to have much difficulty.
No, it's not too bad at all at the moment.
But I should imagine with a heavy sea going, it can be quite tricky. What is the most difficult part of this operation for you?
Well, getting the boat down and away and getting it back up again, because with heavy seas, big swells, you can quite easily smash the boat up, no trouble at all.
Well, I hope you have no trouble at all and that you don't do anything of the sort this evening.
Yeah,
You
so do
better
I.
carry on and we'll see you later.
Thank you. Pick up, right. Hold on the boat. Smartly, lad, come on. Ride's clear, ready for lowering, sir.
While we're waiting for the captain to order the boat away, let's have another look at this chart and see just where we are and what we're doing and what we're up to altogether. Now then, here is Harwich. This is where we set off from. Here we come about 26 miles south. Here is Margate. We're about 3 miles north of Margate, and each of these is a lightship. As you can see, there are quite a lot of them. A very good reason for that is that these waters are extremely treacherous. Extremely treacherous. Each of these dark colorations here marks a sandbank, and before the lightships were there, when there were just beacons on land, I'm sure that many an olden days vessel has broken her back on these sands. They're certainly sinister. They've got sinister names. Foul Nest Sand, I think, is a horrible name. Anyway, this is the Tongue lightship, and her particular function here is to guard ships from going onto long sand, which is here, but another more important thing, to show those ships the safe channels. I'm going to rock your view for a moment because I'm left-handed, but these safe channels into the Thames and the Port of London. The southernmost is the Prince's Channel, through there. That shows up through there. The South Edinburgh Channel, and there, and round the other side of Shingles Patch, the North Edinburgh Channel. That acts like a sort of traffic island in the middle of the seaway. Well, let's have a look now and see if the boat is about to be launched, the workboat.
Way to get up.
And she goes.
Lifelines.
Just rather dramatic in this light, the working lights from the deck. Down she goes into the waters, which are becoming dark rather rapidly at the moment. We noticed this last night. We had quite a bit of fog last night, in fact, and we were hoping it would hold off for tonight. Fortunately, it has. Well, now she's in the water and heading, when the gripes are cleared, the ropes that hold her to the ship, she'll be heading away. As the flurry of spray from her stern, as the engines turn, gripes are cleared.
Righto then.
Now they're pushing off from the side of the Ready. There's quite a heavy swell running tonight. Away they go from the Ready and across to the Tongue. Well, our captain predicted that we were dead lucky this time. And this really isn't too bad. The job can be done quickly and smoothly this time. But it isn't hard to imagine what it must be like in the middle of winter, with the whip and the whine of an icy nor'easter driving the big combers across this stretch of water, with the lightship rolling and pitching at her moorings, with the air full of stinging spray, with the boat bucking, juddering as the bow smacks into each new roller, and the numbing cold searching through your duffel, through your shirt, feeling for your bones. Well, this boat weighs about 5.5 tons. She's 30 feet long, and she's built for the job, built to slug through the heaviest swell, the wildest wind. But sometimes in winter the weather beats her all the same, because she just never gets into the water. The sea rising and falling 20 feet or more, and the Ready hove to and pitching, it just isn't possible to launch the workboat. She'd break up as she hit the water. So the Ready may wait, and the lightshipmen on board the Tongue may wait, watching her across a few hundred feet of tormented sea, absolutely willing the wind to subside, perhaps for days on end. For the 4 lightshipmen we're ferrying across now in this happy, comparative calm, the Ready is their last link with the land, the last link with home. Once she has sailed, their month of isolation begins. No postman calls out here, no baker, or milkman, or paperboy. For the next 4 weeks, all they will see will be the distant, dark smudges of North Foreland. Occasionally, if the weather is clear, the distant, tantalizing glow of Margate's merry lights. and the gaunt, ugly structure of a deserted wartime cacti rearing up out of the sea about 1.5 miles away. Crazy tilted now, a hunk of canting, cracking concrete. And of course the ships that pass by day and the ships that pass in the night. And there they go up to the lightship, and soon the relief will have been made. Well, as we told you, we were hoping to get some pictures from the helicopter. Unfortunately, this hasn't been possible. The weather's closed in on us, and there's a bit of fog, and it just hasn't happened. Thank you. Yes, indeed, Paul. This is Paul, by the way. He's one of the stewards, and you're Polish, I understand, Paul, aren't you?
Right, sir.
Paul, what is your second name?
My second name is Elshkovsky,
And
but they more or less
I
call
can
me
pronounce that.
Tchaikovsky. Tchaikovsky, sir.
well, that's a pretty good substitute. How long have you been over here?
I've
in
been
this
over
country?
here since 1946, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been...
What were we doing before that?
For that, well, I've been in the Polish forces abroad, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And when I come to this country, I work in the mines in Wales.
Do you know, it's funny you should say that, because I've noticed while we've been here that you've got a slight Welsh accent, haven't you?
Yeah, well, if you work amongst so many die-backs down below, say, you know, you get used to it.
You get used to it. What did you do after you left the mines, Paul?
Well, when I left the mines, I worked in the clothing factory, in the tin works, steel works, and with a fishing fleet.
Mm.
And
you like
then I
that?
worked on the docks. Well, not very. And one day a chap come along and he asked me if I could take a job on one of the boats. Well, I didn't know much about Trinity then. And I went along and I got the job, sailed the next day.
This was just a temporary job?
Yes, that was a temporary because somebody else took ill, you
And
know.
how long ago was this?
That was about 7 years ago.
7 years.
Yes, and then I come to Harwich on the Ready, and I've been on the Ready now 6 years.
It's a fairly long temporary job, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You seem to be enjoying it anyway.
Yes, well, I
You
quite
certainly
like
serve
it.
a jolly good cup of coffee,
Yes,
I must
thank
say,
you,
Paul.
sir.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
You better start. I've got one of these for Mr. Evans,
Oh,
if you'd like to find it. Oh, he's here.
Thank you.
I've just been whistling one of these up for Dave. You, Dave, are the second officer, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
Well, you've been with Trinity House quite some time. What sort of men are they who serve on the lightships?
Well, the lightsmen themselves, they're men who have served in the merchant service many years in some cases. Some are ex-fishing fleets. Some are men who have served in the Royal Navy. And I think they've joined Trinity House to get a more regular service, in as much as they do a month afloat and have a regular fortnight ashore. That helps a lot with their home life. They can get home, see the wives and children, much more regularity than sailing away.
Well, it certainly is more convenient than being out at sea all that time, but really away, I mean. But even so, it's a fairly tough life.
Oh, it's a very tough life, yes, especially in the winter. But they retain their sense of humour, a very good sense of humour they have.
Well, if you don't believe that it really is a tough life, you ought to hear some of the stories that are told by some of the old hands, the old lightshipmen.
I remember during the war, an enemy bomber bombed the East Dudgeon and seriously damaged it. Eventually, 8 men got away in the ship's lifeboat in mountainous seas and blowing a blizzard. Sometime later, the boat grounded on a lonely piece of coast. They stumbled out the boat, wet through and into a foot of snow. They wandered around all night. In the morning, 7 was dead, 1 survived. A sorry business, this East Dudgeon.
Next one.
The light vessel I served on was rather different to this town. She was one of the old sorts with the oil lantern. To trim this lantern, we had to climb up on the rope ladder, which was made fast to the rigging. Rather a dangerous job this, with your hands freezing cold on a winter's night. You couldn't wear gloves, because to trim the lamp, you had to do it with your bare fingers. All light ships haven't got the same motion, not the same as other ships anyway. As they rise and fall on the seas, the anchor cable comes tight and gives a nasty jerk, sending the jerk right down to your tummy, make you feel right queer. Upset some of the old salts. There was one old fella during one bad storm we had. He just about had enough of it. He went and locked himself in the ship's toilet, and nobody could get him out. The master went up, hammered on the door. "Come on out of there," he says. "Not likely," says the old fella. "If I'm going to drown, I'm going to drown in the dry."
In the old days, light ship men, while the foghorn was blasting, used to receive tuppence an hour, which was a great help in those days. A light ship's foghorn, when it's sounding, is deafening, and the lightsmen get in the habit of talking in bursts between blasts, and I believe some of them talk same ashore in bursts between the fights. There was one master of a light ship. When he was aboard, he used to spend most of his time down below. When the lads used to go down and ask him if they should start the foghorn, he would look through his porthole. He saw lights, no blast. So on occasions, the crew put grey blankets over his port at night. One of the deck watch had gone below, the old man said, "Master, it's coming in Moosey." He would turn out, look through his porthole. "All right, lads, start the foghorn." More hours at tuppence extra.
Alongside.
Well, I have it on the very best authority that in the days and the hours before the relief boat comes, the light shipman begins to get a little bit edgy. His nerves get taut. He doesn't sleep so very well. His nights are troubled by thoughts of home, and every offshore breeze seems to carry with it the smell of home cooking. Well, this state of nervous tension, this dread that at the last minute a storm's going to blow up and leave him longer in the iron ship. This state is known as the channels. Well, that's got quite a story itself. Apparently in the old days when mariners were much longer out at sea than they are these days, because the ships went so fast, I suppose, they used to get this same state of mind, particularly when they were on the way home and when they were bound for their own port and entered the channels leading to the harbour, hence the term. Well, it's the end, we hope, of the channels for another month for these men off the Tongue. The first man off the workboat should be Mr. Ivan Williams. He's the lightship master. He's been in these boats for 26 years. And out of those 26 years, 16 of them, 16 whole years, he's actually spent on a lightship. Well, his first job when he comes ashore is to go up and report on the bridge to the master of the Ready.
Well done, lad.
Coming alongside now, and I should imagine they will leave with a certain amount of alacrity.
No, leave the light jacket up.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, everything all correct on board?
Very correct, boss, sir.
Right. Cable all correct?
Yes, Inspector, it's all good.
What about this little bit of trouble you had with the radio beacon?
Oh, no trouble at all.
No trouble at all now that the radio mechanic came
Yes,
on?
yes, I think so.
Well, have a good month ashore, and I expect you to do with a warm cup of tea.
Yes, I can do
So
that.
there'll be one waiting down below. Right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Well, here are the men home from the lightship. Now, let's see if I've got your name right. You are Mr. Highland?
Yes.
You are the foghorn signal driver.
Foghorn field, yes.
Right-ho. And you're Mr. Housden.
That's right, yes.
Housden. And you are a lamplighter,
That's
yes?
right, yes.
And Mr. Hurley.
That's right.
And what have you got in your dunnage this time? What's this
Oh, I got
kit
a
you
piece
brought?
of marquetry, that's all.
Oh, that's very nice. What's that going to be? Harbour scene. Nautical
Cornish
scene.
harbour scene.
Have you done this?
No, a friend of mine, I'm taking it ashore for him.
I see. And what's in yours?
I've got a mattress made up, made purpose.
Mat, pretty
Yes.
tough one. I should imagine
Yes.
that's fairly long-lasting, isn't it?
One we make purpose for us.
Yes.
Yes.
How long has it taken you to make that?
I'll make this one in a week.
A week.
This one.
You must
Because
have
this one's
plenty of
very
patience.
easy.
And it's not very easy on your fingers, is it?
Oh, no, if you was at it all day, you wanted a fresh pair of fingers the time the week had finished.
I think you would. Yes. What have you got in your
I've got
parcel?
some books of mine, mate, on Midbarrow.
You chop and change and flop round books, do you?
Yes, right, yeah.
I see. Well, when you're on the lightship, does anything interesting ever happen to you?
Oh, yes, we've had several things happen. On one instance, we got up one morning and we found a seal alongside of us, a baby seal. Wasn't very old, matter of fact, it was many hours.
And you left it, and you looked after it, did you?
Yes, we got it on board.
How did you get rid of it finally?
Well, we just put him back underwater again and let it go out to sea.
Certainly unusual things happen to you. Anyway, I should think you want to get down below. I'm going to lose my microphone cable. You go down below and get yourselves warm. All right? These, then, are the men from the iron ships. They're quiet men, gentle and good-natured. They're men who've learned to use their leisure time. They have time which, and a characteristic which I think it shows in their faces, in their voices, in their very manner, a sort of infinite patience. They're men who've learned how to use their leisure. They've got time, which so few of us have these days, to sit back and take a good look at ourselves, to examine their lives. They're men who spend long, cold hours working out in the darkness, away from their families. But there's no bitterness. Down below the decks, are more men. Other men waiting to go to other lightships, to continue the watch in the iron ships.